Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about all the cables here for the FJ Cruiser car radio. First, let's talk about this cable bundle here. This cable bundle has multiple cables, some for amp, some for emergency light, some for power cable, and some of them is used for the CAN bus information. Let's keep the emergency light on side. And first and foremost, let's plug in the power cable. Power cable goes here. Okay. After the power cable, let's talk about car radio. If your car radio has this kind of cable, you just plug in the original car radio cable here. But if your car radio has this kind of cable, you just plug in the original car radio cable here and then put this one and plug it here. Okay. Then we have the CAN bus information cable here. This cable goes here. CAN bus information cable has this part here. If your original car has this kind of plug, you just plug it in here. But if it does not, we have this cable here and you just plug it in here and use this plug instead. Okay. For the CAN bus information, we also have this part here, this small cable, which plugs in here. Pay attention to it. We must plug these cables in. If we do not, then we won't be able to use steering wheel controls or some other functions. Now here we have another stripe. This is for air conditioning panel. And we have this port here. This is also for air conditioning panel. Okay. Here we have amp, aux R and aux L. We will connect this later in the RCA cable. This is for the JBL. If your car comes with the JBL, you need to plug in these two cables. If your car does not come with the JBL, you need to plug in these three cables. Note that these are for the power. Okay, now let's take a look at the RCA cable. The RCA cable goes here. Pay attention when you're plugging it in. Okay, now here the amp. The RCA cable should have plugs for these two. Let's find it. Yes, the aux in. Okay. Aux in, yeah. Here, these two. The original plug goes here. Original car's plug goes here. Okay. Now, let's find the cooling fan cable in the RCA, which is here. Alright, we have done all the successful connections. Let's move them apart and let's explain to you some other cables. Okay, so here we have 4-pin USB cable. The 4-pin USB cable goes into the 4-pin part. Like this. This is the 6-pin USB cable. This one goes right next to the 4-pin in this port here. Pay attention to when you're plugging it in. Okay. Okay. In the RCA cable, we can also plug in our external mic. Find the external mic here. Goes in. Plugged in. You can set it up on your dashboard or wherever you feel comfortable. This is our GPS. The GPS goes here on this location. Okay. And now, one of the most important cables. This is a reversing control cable, which must be plugged in. Why it should be plugged in is because it has two cables on top. One is for Bluetooth, one is for Wi-Fi. And here, this one is for the backup camera. We plug it in here. And then here we have our backup camera. With backup camera, we get another bundle of cables here. It also has multiple plugs inside, which we will show you now. Red to red, here. Okay, once we have done that, we have a port here. This port goes into the reversing control cable. Okay, so once you have connected all of these, we have this blue cable here. Where do we connect the blue cable? This blue cable goes here from the first to the third cable in this one here. It's a brown cable for us here, which we will find, and it says reverse. We need to connect these two cables. Once you've done that, you will have a backup camera connection. After that, make sure that you isolate these two cables. If after these connections your backup camera still does not work, we have to connect this cable to the reversing light, the positive terminal of the reversing light, and this one for grounding. Once you have done that, you will definitely have backup camera connection.